Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, Shab, I will go over some questions from the EOT, some from the MCQ, and some from the free response. Questions 12 and 20 from the multiple choice, and 22 from the free response questions. Let's start. Question 12. Use different rules and higher derivatives in solving real-life problems. So let's get started. Question 39. Find the second degree polynomial of the form of ax power of 2 plus bx plus c such that f of 0 equals negative 2, f prime of 0 equals 2, and f double prime of 0 equals 3. In this type of questions, to solve, I have to find the second degree derivative. So I will start with writing f of x equals ax power of 2 plus bx plus c. This is the original function in the quadratic form. Now I will find f prime of x equals, what do you think? It will be multiplying 2 by a, so it will be 2ax to the power of 1, I don't show it, plus b, and x will not be written, and c will be cancelled. Now f double prime of x equals, it will be only 2a, as x will be removed and b will be cancelled. Now I have the expressions here, or three equations for f of x, f prime of x, f double prime of x type. What I will do now, actually I have the values, but when substituting x by 0 in all of them. So on the other hand, what I will do, I will find f of 0, and I will find f prime of 0, and I will find f double prime of 0 type. Let's substitute here by if I'm trying to find f of 0, it means substitute x by 0 in the original function. This will mean that these both will be cancelled, so the answer is C type. For the second one, if I'm finding f prime of 0, it means any x will remove everything, so we will have here only b. And if I'm solving this one, substituting by x equals 0, there is no x to substitute, so the answer is 2a. Now, I know from the question that f of 0 equals negative 2, so which means c equals negative 2. So f of 0 equals c equals, from the question here, equals negative 2. F prime of 0 equals b, and from the question f prime of 0 equals 2, which means b equals 2. And the last one, f double prime of 0 equals 2a, and f double prime of 0 equals 3. So I know directly from here that c equals negative 2, this is the first one, b equals 2, this is the second one, b equals 2, and the third one, to find the value of a, I will have to divide, this is the only one I have to divide here, so a equals 3 over 2, a equals 3 over 2. Now in this case I have a, b, and c. I will rewrite the expression, or the polynomial expression, like this. So f of x equals a, which is 3 over 2, x to the power of 2, plus bx, it will be plus 2x, plus c, which means negative 2, and that's it. Here is the solution. Right? Easy. Alright, this is question 41. Find the area of the triangle bounded by x equals 0, y equals 0, and the tangent line to y equals 1 over x at x equals 1. So this is the beginning part, or the starting part of the question, and then he will ask me to repeat this for another triangle, but just let's stop at this point here and solve this question. So as you know, Shabab, any triangle is formed from 3 lines, or let's say from the intersection of 3 lines. Like for example, if I have like any straight line and another one and a third line, so we will come up with a triangle here like bounded by the 3 lines. All right, type. In this part, to solve this question, we will start, like, I think it's better to draw the axes. So I'm having them ready here, so we will put, like, or we can draw a vertical and horizontal line drawing the axes to just imagine how the question look like. The first thing, I have the line x equals 0, and we all know that x equals 0 is the y-axis, or let's say x equals 0, and the second line is y equals 0, which means this is the x-axis, or y equals 0. So we have these two lines, and now we should have a third line, either like this, or like maybe this. So we will come up with either triangle in any side here. All right. Right. Let's see how this will work. And the third line is the tangent line to y equals 1 over x, and we have the later at x equals 1. So let's just stop at the equation here. So the first thing I want to find the to find the tangent line y equals 1 over x at x equals 0. So this is not the equation of the line. The equation of the line is the tangent line to this one. So what I will do now is I need the equation of the tangent line. So I will start with the normal equation. Hold on a second. So it's y equals 1 over x. Now, to find the equation of the tangent line, it should be in the form of y equals mx plus c, or plus b, whatever the variable you name here, Yashab. We discussed this before, and we know that m here represents the slope, and we know that the slope is coming from y prime. So all what I need to do is to differentiate this function. So do you remember how we differentiate this? 1 over x will be negative 1 over x to the power of 2. So this will be the first derivative of this function. Now he says in the question that x equals 1, right? So at x equals 1, what I will do, so y prime equals negative 1 over 1 squared, which is negative 1 over 1, which means negative 1. So now I know that m equals negative 1, which means the slope of the tangent line now will be m equals negative 1. I can now substitute in the function of the line, which means y equals negative 1x plus c. Now I have a point. I have a point to substitute. So let's see. I have the value of x set at x equals 1. However, I don't know the y. So I need what I need to do is to go back to the original function and say at x equals 1, y equals, when you substitute by 1 here, 1 over 1 is 1. So I now know that I have the point 1 and 1 as x and y. Now I will substitute back in the in the equation here by x and y. So it will be 1 equals negative 1 plus c. 1 equals negative 1 plus c. I will just change this to move it to the other side. It will be 2 equals c. So I know now the value of c. Now I will put now m and c in the function of the straight line. So we will come up with y equals negative x plus 2. So this now, ya shabab, is the equation of the tangent line to the curve y equals 1 over x. Okay, now all what I need to do is to draw this a function here, or this equation of the straight line here, and so we can say what is the or to see the triangle, so we can calculate its area. To do this, we need to find two things. For example, I can draw this line like maybe this, as we said earlier, or like this, or whatever. So I need to find the x and y intercepts so that I can draw the line easily. To find, I will divide this here. I need to find now the x intercept and the y intercept. Remember, Shabab, to find the x intercept, all what I need is to put y equals 0, and to find the y intercept we put x equals 0. Now to find the x intercept, I will put this as 0, so 0 equals negative x plus 2. I will move negative x to the other side. This means x equals 2, and now I have the x intercept. On the other hand, I will put x equals 0, so it will be y equals 0 plus 2, so this means y equals 2 as well. Now I want to graph this line, so what I will do, x equals 2, it means I will, let's imagine this is 1 here, so this is 2 here, so I will mark it as 2, and this is the x-intercept. Now y equals 2, let's say again this is approximately 1, this is 2 for example, so I will mark it as the y-intercept. Can just draw the line like this, and like here we go. Okay shabab, so here this is how it looks like. So as you can see now, as we said, the 3 lines are forming this triangle here. Okay, now what I want to do here is, if you remember, to find the area of this triangle. What is the area of that triangle? If you remember, it's half base multiply height, half base height. So I will write here just half. Now the base here of this triangle is from the origin to 2, so we have a 2 multiplied by the height, and as you can see, this is the height, so the height as well is 2, so this is the base and this is the height, so it will be multiplied by 2. It's very obvious the area is 2, right? Now the question is done. We found the area of the triangle is 2. Of course we should write here square unit. However, it's a multiple choice question and you don't have to write the unit or to show it. How the question will come in case if this is a multiple choice, it's not a writing part, he will provide you with different numbers in the, like the area equals 2, equals 4, 3, 1, and you have to choose the correct area from the choices. However, let's start completing the question. Repeat for the triangle bounded by x equals 0, y equals 0, which means we still have the same lines, and a tangent line to y equals 1 over x at x equals 2. At x equals 2. If he stopped here, to be honest, if it's a writing part, we have to solve this again and to do one more time all the process here, but we will start and here from changing x equals 1 to x equals 2. However, what will happen here is, if you will complete reading, and this is a multiple choice, show that you will get the same area using the tangent line to y equals 1 over x at any x equal a greater than 0. So it looks like this is a rule, shabab. Whatever the value of x you will use here, you will still get the same area. You still get the same area. In this case, the area will not change. It will be always 2. Okay, you can try it yourself, do it again, and tell me if you can find a different number. However, if he's already telling you, so you have to be clever while you're solving the multiple choice questions, and you keep time for other harder questions, so that you will get the same area. So I don't have to do this because already he told me that I will get the same area. So it's like a proof thing. So which means whatever the value of a, or whatever the value that I will change here for x, we will get the same area. He's telling me in the question, so I don't have to do anything. It's still a 2. And maybe you will find in the choices it will be always 2, which is true. Okay shabab? Alright guys, now for still in the MCQ section, but question 20, learn the mean value theorem and use its applications. So now in question 20, if you remember, this is a proof question. So in this we have only one example in the book, 10.5, proving an inequality for sin x. Prove that the absolute value of sin a is smaller than the absolute value of a for all a is not equal to 0. Alright. So in this type of questions, as long as it's a multiple choice, he will never ask you to prove anything because you can't write the steps of showing the proof. However, I will show you like some other examples how the question may come in the exam later. First of all, to understand this proof, it's not difficult, but let's see how it works. So first of all, what we need to start with is to think of the mean value theorem. As long as we have a value which is not equal to 0, we will assume that this will be the interval from 0 to a. So we will assume that this is the interval. We will apply the mean value theorem. Alright, so in this case, if you remember, we used to write here a and B to apply the rule when we find the mean value theorem. So what I will write here now is, if you remember, f prime of C equals, if you remember from the mean value theorem, which one I will use here, it's not a zero, it will be f of B minus f of A over B minus A. Now, someone will ask, from where did I get the C? If you remember, Ishab, in the mean value theorem, we will assume that we have a value of C that belongs to this given interval. Like we have a value of C belongs to this interval. That will help me to apply the mean value theorem. So you will assume that C belongs to 0 and A. In this case, f prime of C equals f of B minus f of A over B minus A. Alright, let's start calculating this before we dive in. If you remember, in the mean value theorem, we said I will calculate here, let's say f of A equals and f of B equals. Like f of A, I can now replace A by 0, which means f of 0, and I can replace here B by A, so it will be f of A equals, right? Some people will get confused if B will be replaced with A. No, A and B here are the variables we use for the rule, but 0 and A are the values for X, so it doesn't make a difference, it's fine. So f of B equals f of A, and let's say f of A equals f of 0. It means I will go to the original function, and the function here we will assume it's f of X equals sine X, the original function that we will start with the solution here. When substituting sine 0, the answer is 0. When substituting sine A, the answer will be, we will leave it as sine A. Now I will use these two information given to substitute here. So what will happen now? So f prime of C, f prime of C we will solve. If you remember, now f prime of C, it means I will differentiate this function for C. So the differentiation or the first derivative for sine X is cosine, but we use here C because we are substituting X by C, equals f of B. We said f of B can be replaced now by sine A, so I will write here just sine A minus f of A. F of A here equals 0 over B. The B here represents A minus A, which represents a 0. So it's very obvious now that cosine C equals sine A over A. Alright, in this case, Shabab, what will be the next step? There should be an information that you know earlier. Just I will try to make it easy for you. Remember, Shabab, cosine X is a function that could be written, if you remember, between two values. Cosine X, the range of it is between -1 and 1. Now, if I want to find the absolute value of cosine X, do you remember the absolute value removes the negative, so it will be smaller than or equal to 1. So this is the part that we will need to use here. So cosine X is smaller than or equal to 1. Now, what we will do here is I will substitute or replace by the information that I have. I know now that cosine X equals sine A over so I don't need X here, sorry, I will use C instead, so because it works for all the values. So I will say here cosine C is between -1 and 1, so the absolute value of cosine C is smaller than 1 because I need cosine C in my example here. Now I can replace cosine C, let's say this is the information I will use to substitute in this absolute value part here. So cosine C could be replaced by sine A over A, which means I can replace cosine C by the absolute value of sine A over the absolute value of A, and we say smaller than or equal to 1. So what I will do, I will multiply both sides here by the absolute value of A. So when I multiply, like here, by the absolute value of A, multiply by the absolute value of A, these will be cancelled, so we will have the absolute value of sine A smaller than or equal to 1 multiply the absolute value of A is absolute value of A, and this is what is required already in the question. So the question asked me to prove that sine A is smaller than or equal to A. Sorry, this should be a mistake I've done. It should be smaller than or equal to A for all A is not equal to 0, and we used A is not equal to 0. That's why I used the interval from 0 to A as long as A is not a 0 here. Okay, so this is how the proof looks like. However, you will not be able to do any of these in the exam. So how may the question come? It will be like this. For example, prove that, but just sorry for the mistake here. He will ask you to choose all the theorems or the information required to prove this function. So let's see. Using a mean value theorem on f of x equals sine x. Of course, we used the mean value theorem. This is the main idea, or the main theorem that I used to prove the this inequality using the Taylor series expansion for sine x. We haven't taken this already before, so we will not highlight it. Using the fact that cosine A, absolute value of cosine A, is smaller than or equal to 1, of course, we said this will be the key of the solution. Using the definition of the derivative of at x equals 0, it's not, so it will be A and C. All right, here another question you may see in the exam. Let's see how it works. It says if 1 is smaller than or equal to f prime of x is smaller than or equal to 4 for all x in the interval from 1 to 4 and f of 1 equals 5, then which one of these could be correct for the given inequality? Let's say what I will do here, I will say 1 smaller than f prime of x smaller than or equal to 4. What I will do here, I will apply the mean value theorem rule here, like I will write 1, so it will be, as if you remember, f of b minus f of a over b minus a smaller than or equal to 4. That's it. Now I will go to this part here and I will write here a and b. All right, a and b. Now let's substitute by things that we know. So it will be 1, and here we will have, so f of b, let's say I will replace by the numbers now. So f of b here is a 4, so it will be f of 4 minus f of a, which means f of a equals 1, so f of 1 over b, which is 4, minus a, which is 1, smaller than or equal to 4. Now we continue substituting and simplifying. I have here f of 1 equals 5, but I don't have f of 4, so what I will say, f of 4 will remain the same, minus f of 1. F of 1 I have, it's a 5, so I will say minus 5. 4 minus 1 is 3, smaller than or equal to 4. Then what I will do, to remove the 3 from the denominator, I will multiply all terms of the inequality by 3. So multiply by 3, multiply by 3, and multiply by 3. What will happen here is this 3 will be cancelled, and now 3 times 1 is 3, smaller than or equal to f of 4 minus 5, smaller than or equal to 4 multiplied 3 is 12. Now I want to remove the 5 as well, so I will add 5 to all terms of the inequality. So 3 plus 5 is 8, smaller than or equal to, now these will cancel, so we will have f of 4 smaller than or equal to 12 plus 5 is 17. So this will be the final result of the inequality, and we will try to find it here, and I think it should be a C. Yes, it's a C. So this is how it works. All right, now let's see another one, and the last one in this part. If f prime of x is greater than or equal to 4 on the interval, f of 0 is something here, -1, what is the minimum possible value of f of 2? So in this type of questions, as we said, we will start by writing the inequality. Let's say f prime of x is greater than or equal to 4. I will replace f prime of x using the mean value theorem by f of b, the rule, minus f of a over b minus a, still greater than or equal to 4. Now I will go to the interval and write a and b. Now I will replace with the numbers. F of b, it means f of 2, minus f of a, it means f of 0 over 2 minus 0. b is 2, a is 0 over 2 minus 0, greater than or equal to 4. Now I will see what I have here. I have f of 0 is a -1, so it means f of 2 minus f of 0 is a -1 over 2 minus 0 is 2, greater than or equal to 4. So f of 2, just simplify, it will be +1 over 2, greater than or equal to 4. Now if I want to remove this 2, I will multiply by 2 for both sides, so these will be cancelled. Now what I will have remaining here, it will be f of 2 plus 1 greater than or equal to 8. 4 times 2 is 8. Then I will subtract 1 from both sides to remove these, so f of 2 will be greater than or equal to 8 minus 1 is 7. Now this is the last inequality. So what will happen in this case, you will see choices like let's say f of 2 is greater than or equal to 8, f of 2 is greater than or equal to maybe 6, f of 2 is greater than or equal to 7, and so on. So I will choose this one. However, maybe he says what is the minimum possible value of f of 2. So in this case you will not see this kind of a choices, you will see only numbers. So you will see, for example, like A, B, C and D. He will give you answers like 6, 7, 8 and 9. So when I say f of 2 greater than or equal to 7, which means f of 2 or the value of f of 2 starts from 7 and moving up or increasing. So the minimum value here, this represents the minimum value. So the minimum value will be 7. So this will be the correct choice in this case, right? I hope it's easier now. So now in the free response section, question 22, apply the product rule on derivatives. We will go over some few questions as well. So let's get started. The second question here, suppose that for some toy, I know this question, Shab, as we already have done it in the class, but I think people still get confused, so I will explain one like or two questions here to show you the difference where I will when I will use the rate of a change or the relative rate of a change and the difference between both of them. Suppose that for some toy the quantity sold Q of t at time t years decreases at a rate of 4%. Explain why this translates to Q prime of t equals negative 0.04 Q of t. Actually, from the first time when you see this, you will understand this is a relative rate of a change. Why is that? Because actually it's very obvious the equation includes Q prime of t, and Q of t should be a relation between, or shows a relation between, Q prime of t and Q of t, and this happens when it's a relative rate of a change which relates the Q prime of t to Q of t. Type. Is there any other indicator that shows it's a relative rate of a change? Yes, when he gave me a percentage here, when he gave me a percentage, it's a 4%. We will see how it will be different in other questions later. So now, the first thing I will start with is to write this down. I will say that if it's a Q prime of t over Q of t, because this is the percentage, so I know it's a relative rate of a change. So as it decreases, it will be negative 0.04. Multiply both sides by Q of t. So I'll multiply by Q of t. What will happen here? This will be cancelled. So Q prime equals what will happen here? Negative 0.04, just Q of t. Okay, Shabab, this is the first requirement. Like, I have to show how the equation becomes like this, and this is how it works. Okay, now I will highlight this one because I will use it later. And it says here, suppose also that the price increases at a rate 3%. Again, we have a relative rate of a change, and it says increase, which means it's a positive, but this is the price which we use P prime of t over P of t equals, it increases by 3%, but directly 0.03 multiplied by P of t multiplied by P of t. So in this case it will be prime equals 0.03 P of t. So I will highlight this as well. So we have these two, I will use them later. It says write out a similar equation for P prime of t in terms of P of t. So this part is done. The revenue for is R of t equals Q of t multiplied by P of t. Substituting the expression Q prime of t and P prime of t into the product rule, R of t equals, and he gave you this, I don't know why, you should be doing it yourself. Show that the revenue decreases at a rate of 1%. Explain why this is obvious. Type. Now, first of all, actually I should not be doing this, but and it should not be given to you in the question. You should know that the revenue or R of t equals the quantity multiplied by the price. So it's a R equals Q multiplied by P. And to find R prime of t, we use a product rule, which means differentiate the first multiplied by the second plus leave the first as it is, multiplied by the derivative of the second. So this is the product rule. First the derivative, multiply the second, then first multiply the derivative of the second. Okay, shabab? And already it's given in the question. I don't know why. You should know how to do this. Now, all what I will do, shabab, now is to substitute. So all what I will do, I will use these to substitute. So r prime of t now equals, I will replace q prime of t by negative 0.04 q of t, and we have here already p of t, plus q of t, it's a q of t, multiplied by p prime of t, so it will be multiplied by p prime of t is 0.03 p of t. I will just rearrange this, so I will write r prime of t equals negative 0.04 q of t p of t, plus I will just put the number first, so it will be 0.03 again q of t p of t. Now you will notice that these are now like terms, so these are like terms, which means I can combine. So all what I will do, I will just write r prime of t equals, and I will do negative 0.04 plus 0.03, which means negative 0.01, and again q of t p of t. Now I know that q of t, b of t is already here. q of t, p of t, I can replace it by r of t. So this is what I will do here. I will replace q of t, p of t by its value, which is r of t. So r prime of t equals negative 0.01. Yes, I will replace this by r of t. Now, all what I will do is to divide by r of t on both sides, divide by r of t, so these will be cancelled. Now r prime of t over r of t, r prime of t over r of t equals negative 0.01, which means what? Look, Shabab, back in the question, show that the revenue decreases at a rate of 1%. This is what you will write in the answer. So what you will say from this, as you can see, how can I describe r prime of t over r of t? It's the revenue decreases at a rate of negative, 1%. Negative here means decreases, and 0.01 it means 1%. So I will write in the answer, like after I finish this, I will write this statement, then the revenue decreases at a rate of 1%. Okay, Shabab, and the question is done. All right. Now, let's go to the second part. As in exercise 25, suppose the quantity decreases at a rate of 4%. By what rate must the price increase to keep the revenue constant? Right. So, all what I will do, suppose that the quantity sold decreases by the quantity sold. So I will write here q prime of t over q of t equals type. Why I use a relative rate of change by dividing the derivative by the original function, or because we have here a 4% or a percentage. So decreases means negative, so it's a negative 0.04, and I know here that this could be written as q prime of t. I use it from the previous one, negative 0.04 q of t, and I have this one only. I don't have the price, nothing mentioned the price. So in this question here we have the quantity and the price mentioned. Here I have the quantity only. Type. By what rate? By what rate? So he's asking about the rate now. Must the price increase to keep the revenue constant? Type. So must the price increase? Question here is asking what is the price, p prime of t over p of t equals what? However, this is the most important thing, the revenue constant. The revenue constant, ya shabab, means like r prime of t equals what? 0. R prime of t equals 0, because if the revenue is a constant, there is no change Type. Imagine if it's increasing, it will be positive. If it's decreasing, it will be negative. If it's a 0, it's neither increasing or decreasing, which means it's a constant, or it's a 0. Nothing will change. Now, so what I will do here to solve this question, I will go back to r prime of t equals q prime of t multiplied by p of t plus, again, q of t multiplied by p prime of t, using the product rule from the beginning. Then what I will do, I know now that r prime of t, from here it's a 0, so I will replace it by 0, equals q prime of t. I have it here already, this one, so it's a negative 0.04 q of t p of t plus, I will leave here q of t p prime of t. Alright, now what I will do next, I will send this one to the other side. Yeah, as we said, I have only two things to substitute. I have r prime of t, it's given as a constant, which means a 0. I have q prime of t, I replaced it by this quantity here. Then I will continue writing the question. Now I need to solve the equation. I will send this to the other side. Negative, it will be positive. يبقى 0.04 q of t p of t equals q of t p prime of t. Now let's go back here. I want to find p prime of t over p of t. Type. What I will do here, I have here p prime of t. I want to make it over, again, p of t, so I will divide by it on both sides, not to change the question. And to get this one only, I need to get rid of the q of t, so I will put it down here, and I will put it down here as well. Now what will happen is these will be cancelled, p of t, q of t with q of t, so all the remaining part here will be this one and this one, so p prime of t over p of t equals 0.04, and I can describe it as, first of all, it's positive. This means increasing, and 0.04, it means by 4%. So I will go back, what I will say to write the answer. So the price increased by, the price increased by 4%. What will be the last one here? Like, suppose the price of an object is $20 and 20,000 units are sold. So what we will write here, and why this question, why this question is different compared to the other one? What do you think? First of all, if you remember here, he used to give me percentages. That's why I used the relative rate of change. But here he's giving me normal numbers, not percentages. All right. Type. In this case, what I will do, first of all, I have to say that, let's say p of t, like the price of an object is $20. All right, so it's a p20, and we have the quantity, which means, and q of t equals 20,000. All right, type. Then it says here, if the price increases at a rate of $1.25, not a percentage, he gave me the amount as dollars. So what I will write here is that p prime of t equals 1.25, and the quantity increases at a rate of 2,000. So I will write here q prime of t equals 2,000. What he wants to say, at what rate will the revenue increase? At what rate will the revenue increase? It means he's asking about r prime of t. To solve this, what I will do, I will write like r of t equals q of t multiplied by p of t. R prime of t equals q prime of t p of t plus q of t multiplied by p prime of t. So this is the product rule. You can just do this directly, and even just write the information that you have and head to this directly. And I will just directly substitute q prime of t is a 2000 multiplied by p of t, which is 20, plus q of t, which is 20,000 multiplied by p prime of t, which is 1.25. And now all what you need to do, ya shabab, is to put it on the calculator and find the result, and the answer will be 65000. So which means, at what rate will the revenue increase? It will increase, of course, because it's a positive, by 65,000. This is how I should write the answer. So we can say the revenue the revenue rate will be increasing by 65,000. All right, hope things are easy now. Thank you so much.